This is why you can never trust a train. 1 second they're moving really slow, and the next minute they're moving like Sonic. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba, and welcome back to another crazy but super embarrassing story. Now, this story all takes place back when I was in high school. This was my grade 11 year, and let's just say in my grade 11 year, I wanted to try a bunch of new things before I graduated high school. I guess you could say I kind of had a bucket list back then, which, to be fair, I still have a bucket list before I turned 30. By the way, I'm right now 24. I don't know if that's obvious enough, but hey, I mean, at least I look really good. No? Okay. Going on. I remember my grade 11 year, I had a bucket list to basically do a bunch of things I always wanted to do. And there was one thing on my bucket list I never thought I would actually end up checking on, but to be honest, I thought it would be a cool idea to actually do it, and that was ride a train. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I grew up in Canada, and in Canada, there's not really many trains around. Well, I mean, there is, but not to the point where it's needed. Because where I grew up, trains weren't really that popular of a transportation to take, and it wasn't really needed. Like, I know in some parts of Canada there is, but the part that I was living at specifically, trains were very unnecessary. And to be fair as well, in my grade 11 year, I also knew how to drive, and I had a driver's license. So in reality, riding a train was really unnecessary. But once again, it was on my bucket list. So I remember what I decided to do one day that was full of my IRLs. I ended up walking up to them and said, yo guys, I was wondering, would it be cool if like we all like took a train together? Wait, what? Bro, you want to take a train? Are you like dumb or something? Is what one of my buddies said, because once again, he thought it was dumb that I wanted to take a train, even though I had a driver's license. And I remember I ended up telling him, dude, like think about how awesome it would be to take a train. Like we could literally go anywhere. Bubba, we can't go anywhere. And where would you want to go with a train anyways? I don't know. We could go somewhere with it. We'll just, you know, do a loop. Bubba, you want to sit on a train with people just to go in a circle? Are you okay? Like, is there something wrong with you? Either way, one thing led to another. They all ended up making fun of me for wanting to ride a train, which to be fair, I think it's kind of dumb. Like, would you guys ride a train with me? Well, I mean, probably after this story, you won't want to because of what happens. But going on with the story, I remember I realized that none of my friends wanted to go. So what I decided to do was I ended up actually, funny enough, I went inside my science classroom and I ended up seeing a girl that was sitting there. Now, this girl that was there, she was a blonde girl with blue eyes, and she was ultimately the most beautiful girl ever. No joke, I really never had confidence to go up and talk to her. But since I was in grade 11 and I hit puberty, and also I drove a car, for God's sakes, like there was no way this girl was gonna deny me. At least that's what I thought in my head. So I decided to walk up to her and say, hey, like, what you up to? Oh, hey, Baba, just finishing my chemistry project. What's up? Oh, well, I was like wondering, like, you doing anything cool after school today? Not exactly. Why? What do you want to do? Well, I was thinking that it would be really cool if me and you know, went on a train. Ew, Bubba, I'm not doing a train with you and your friends. What? No, that's not what I meant. I meant like go on an actual train. Yeah, I guess her idea of a train was different back then, but to be fair, we grew up in a sick society that we all live in nowadays. So, I mean, I understand the confusion. Anyways, when she realized I was talking about an actual train, she got kind of excited and her eyes kind of opened wide, and she said to me, oh, I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, like, I've never been on one though. Really? I haven't either. So do you want to like, you know, try it? I mean, yeah, I don't see why not. Do you know what train we can go on? Yeah, there's one just like, you know, apparently like 30-minute drive away. I'll drive us after school if you're down. Sure, but where are we gonna go? Oh, we're just gonna do like a loop, you know. A loop around where? Like around the city? Yeah, it'll be super fun. I don't know, is what she ends up saying. She was really like kind of scared, I guess, which to be fair, I don't blame her. Like, what kind of guy would walk up to a girl and say, yo, wanna hop on a train with me? Okay. Now I understand why she freaked out the first time, but still, overall, like, I just wanted to go on a train, bro, with someone. And why not go with a hot girl? So I ended up trying to convince this girl, and I told her that a whole loop on a train around my city was only like 2 hours. So it wouldn't be that long, and we'd be back home just in time for dinner. She ended up agreeing finally, and she told me on one condition, and that was, okay, that's fine, but only if we get private seating, because I don't want to like sit with like weirdos. Yeah, that's not an issue. And I remember literally at that moment, I ended up pulling out my phone and trying to book us tickets to a train with actual good seating. And one thing I realized when I went on the train website that we wanted to go on, I realized that trains are actually super expensive. Like, you guys thought planes were expensive? Train rides are actually just as expensive. I remember in high school, I think I spent like over $200, and I spent $100 a ticket just for me and this girl to hop on a train. It's kind of crazy how expensive everything has become nowadays because inflation, but overall, to be fair, I think I'm just getting old. Anyways, after the school day ended, I remember me and this girl, we ended up going inside my car and we ended up driving to the train station. We drove half an hour there, and once we got there, I parked my car and bought a parking pass just to leave it there for a couple hours. And afterwards, I remember me and this girl, we hopped on this train, and when we went inside, it was actually really cool. I remember when we went inside the train, it was actually really neat. Like, it was actually really nice to see, like, you know, the train conductor and like basically like the cool seating. Like, it was exactly what I basically imagined it would be. And as I'm like looking around this train, I ended up getting walked by one of the conductors to basically go to our private seating area since I paid $100 per seat. So I remember we ended up going towards like the back area, which was like the VIP section. Obviously, we weren't old enough to drink, so we couldn't go to the bar that was there, but they did end up actually putting us in a private area with doors that would literally close that the conductor opened for us. And when we went inside, it was really nice. There was a nice table. There were plugs to charge our laptops and phones. There was even little cool red curtains that you could close and open. In a way, I guess I kind of felt like I was in like the VIP version of the Polar Express, if you guys know what that is. But honestly, it was actually pretty epic. I remember me and this girl sat down, and when we sat down, I treated it like it was a normal date because obviously I invited this girl basically on a date, if you really think about it. So I remember I started talking to her about her family, her life, and basically let her yap for like a couple minutes. I remember afterwards, the conductor ended up coming to our section and opening our doors, and he ended up looking at us saying, "Excuse me, we are officially handing out dinner, so hope you guys have your table extended and ready for food." At this moment, me and this girl got really excited because we thought train food was going to be like some sort of like crazy VIP thing, especially since I paid like over $200 for this train ride. And I remember the food they ended up giving us was actually pretty garbage. I'm not gonna cap, I thought it'd be a lot better, but in reality, it was like a burger that was like from McDonald's with like McDonald's fries. We basically got served literally $12 of food between both of us in literally $100 section. Like, it's literally insane to think about, but at the same time, I wasn't complaining. I was on a date and I was trying to be as happy as possible. Anyways, I remember this girl continues yapping, and it gets to a point where she says to me, "Oh, Baba, you're such a good listener." Yeah, of course. Anything for you. And I remember she ends up saying, "Honestly, like, it'd be kind of a shame to just sit here the whole time. Do you think it'd be cool if like we go around and like, you know, look at the rest of the train?" I ended up saying sure. So me and this girl, we ended up leaving our section. We ended up exploring the other parts of the train. We went to like the main, like, you know, economy area. We went to like the VIP areas, and we even went towards the very front of the train to see how long it was, which took us like, by the way, like 20 minutes to walk the entire train. Obviously, there was a lot of foot traffic going on because people like moving around in a train, I guess, but it was actually really neat. And I remember as we were like, you know, going through the crowds and stuff, there was one moment for some reason that was really awkward that led us to be more, I guess, closer. And what was that moment? Well, basically, I remember as there was a bunch of foot traffic going on in the train, this one giant fat dude ended up pushing this girl that I was taking out into me, and she ended up squeezing right up next to me to the point where her lips literally were basically touching mine. I remember as the fat guy walked away, he even went like, "Dumb kids." But from him just doing that, me and this girl that were like really close together at this point, we ended up actually just full on making out to the point where we felt super awkward because we ended up realizing that people were staring at us. So obviously what me and this girl decided to do was go to the VIP section. We ended up going back to our VIP section. We ended up going inside our private corridor that we had, or our private section, I should say. And me and her, we ended up actually moving the table up, and we ended up right away doing the Devil's Tango on the train. I will say this, it definitely knocked off two things on my bucket list because I've done it on a plane before, so doing it in a train was definitely a better experience because obviously we weren't 6,000 feet in the air, but not the point. Going on, I remember as me and this girl were doing the Devil's Tango, we ended up seeing a random light turn on, and out of nowhere, there was a train conductor that came to our section, opened the door to hand us dessert, but then afterwards, he sees me and this girl not wearing anything doing the Devil's Tango, and he says to me, "Oh, I see you guys are already doing dessert. This is not allowed. Please put on your clothes. I'll give you guys some privacy." He ends up closing the doors, and right away at that moment, I just felt super embarrassed, and this girl's putting on her clothes as fast as possible. Obviously, I felt super awkward as well, and let's just say for our penalty that we got in trouble for, we ended up actually having to hop off the train at a random place in the middle of nowhere. Well, it wasn't really in the middle of nowhere. Like, we knew where we were exactly, to be fair, but still, it felt like we were in the middle of nowhere, to the point where I remember I ended up having to call one of my friends to pick us up, and when he picked us up, he ended up driving us all the way to the first train station where I got my car back. But the thing that was the worst part was that we were like already like 2 hours away from the city because we were like in the furthest point of where I parked my car, so I even got a parking ticket that I had to pay for. I will say this, going on a train costs a lot, and especially costs a lot more if you get kicked off the train. But if you guys enjoyed this story, make sure you guys press on one of the videos on screen right now and follow for more embarrassing stories just like this one. Peace out, guys.